Okay. Yeah, well, outreach is unfortunately something that a lot of people don't seem to grasp the subtleties of.
Yeah, you have to, and that's one of the things I'd recommend doing is having a good PR person on staff. One of the main ladies that handles all of our outreach and does all that. I mean, she's got a strong background in PR, and she knows how to approach people. I mean, sometimes us as SEOs, we want to go right in for the kill and say, "Give me the link." Here's this is awesome. You want to link to this. Whereas they have a little bit more of a subtle approach and kind of take the roughness off of the edges.
Sure. Yeah, well, we all get those emails.
Yes. And what do we do with what do most of us do with them?
That's why I have a supersized trash can.
Exactly. So
I it wasn't too long ago, and of course I don't follow it nearly as closely as you do, so it may have been around for a long time. But it wasn't too long ago that I came across my first interactive infographic, and I was blown away. I thought, now there's a twist that somebody has really come up with a hot idea. And I started looking around, and for the last couple of months, I've really been doing some searching for infographics. Seen some very innovative stuff out there. One that I saw that you did not too long ago, the complete history of social media,
yeah.
is a good one, and I like that because there's an awful lot of information there, and it's tailored to my particular interest. What era I want to look at, and it's not cluttered. It's a fantastic twist to the more traditional or conventional idea of infographics.
And it
So
kept
it
you on the
raises the
page
question.
for a while.
Say again?
And it kept you on the page for a while.
Oh, kept me on the page for a long while. Yeah. And it learned a link too, by the way.
Awesome.
But the thought automatically comes to mind. Wow. Okay, there's something I didn't see that coming. What else am I not seeing coming? Is there some potential that you see? And I'm not asking you to share any trade secrets that you may be working on, but I mean, do you see another uh, big innovation on the horizon that might really revive and rejuvenate the idea of infographics? Something that takes interactivity and puts it on the back burner in favor of this new thing?
I mean, interactives are definitely, I think, the future. Again, I don't think infographics themselves are ever dying. I mean, we have people that are saying, "Hey, we want you to turn the homepage of our website into an infographic," and where they're more interactive as well. So I mean, there's going to be some interactivity on some of that kind of stuff. Video is always going to be huge, making it where you have that. Again, it could be repurposing or it could be brand new altogether, whatever you're doing. Just something that's taking what we do, which has normally been this boring, static page, and just making it again, just where we're so we're in this. I always joke with my kids. It's you seen was it the movie Up? How it's all squirrel, and you were always distracted by the squirrel, and we want that next new amazing thing. But um, if I had to pick anything, I would say it's definitely leaning towards the interactive ones. A lot of the stuff that we're doing is going to be interactive, and again, this is just what I see us leaning towards: interactives, video, infographics. I mean, we're still going to be doing a lot of static ones. Maybe less and less of the big traditional long ones, and more, just whether they're broken down or just smaller ones that tell a better story. It's like with what you mentioned when we first started chatting, infographics that tell a story. Tell a story, tell a better, more powerful story with less than what we've done in the past. So I think those are still going to be really good and do really well for us in the future. But definitely figuring out how we can do more interactive infographics for clients and getting better at it. So it doesn't cost as much, so it can be more effective, and using them as actual, not just gaining links like you said. You gave us a link, not just for gaining links, but for also um, gaining leads, making the sale, closing people. We work with a lot of companies that want us to give want the poster version so they could put up or give them away to all their employees or put them up in their office buildings. So I mean, there's lots of different uses for these, and again, I don't think that that's ever going away, and so I don't want to say that just the traditional infographic is ever dying or going to be dead. But I definitely do think we got to be innovative. We got to think of the kind of things that are going to keep people engaged, keep them on the page, figure out how to do a lot of put together that massive amount of data, but make it where it's consumable, like with what you said with the history of social media and what we did. I mean, if you put that just in a post, sure. I mean, it's great text, and it's going to be something that is crawled and whatever, and be a good piece, but it's just not going to do what that interactive side of it does with that amount of data and
Yeah, it
getting
won't have the
getting on the
impact.
page.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, I don't, I'd love to be able to take a peek into the future so I could be ahead of it. I don't, there's nothing that I see that we're working on or that we're doing that goes beyond videos or interactive infographics, other than just trying to figure out how to do them better, how to do them for more clients, how to do them cheaper so more people can afford them. But again, it's just all content. I mean, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation, whether it's a video, whether it's an ebook, whether it's an infographic, it's all content. And I don't think the content is ever going away. I mean, it's never going to go away. I mean, this is what drives the internet. People are looking up information. They want answers to their questions. They want to laugh. They want humor. They want whatever it is. I mean, this is all content driven, and so this is what we're trying to do.
Let's talk about cost a moment in terms of what's scalable. One of the things that occurred to me the other day when I was looking at a number of interactive IGs was, wow, somebody trying to capture a particular audience, particular if you're trying to convey some information, to teach something to kids, uh, animation is a biggie. But then the thought comes to mind, because I know zip about the production cost of infographics. Does that make it prohibitive for anybody else than clients with a huge budget? I mean, would making a animated infographic just be prohibitively cost wise?
And it all depends on how extensive the interactive graphic is. I mean, for example, that history of marketing channels, it was a pretty simple, or not history of marketing channels, the history of social media. I mean, it was a nice interactive one, but it wasn't as time consuming as some of the other ones. And so there are different levels, and again, it depends on exactly what the client's needing and how much time we're going to have to put into it. But I mean, just to give you an idea, I mean, traditional infographics with full promotion, we're gonna be anywhere from starting point at $3,000. I mean, it includes full promotion, but compare that to interactive graphics that are going to be at least anywhere from 5 to 10 grand, sometimes even more, depending on how much editing and how much a client wants. But $10,000 to again, I'm not don't know if I can name some of the names of some of the bigger clients that we have, but think of Fortune 500 companies. That's nothing for them in their marketing budget and their overall scheme of things. But to a local restaurant owner that's really trying hard to do well with his online presence, and spending $200 a month sometimes is too much for them, and so they can't even get a regular infographic put together. So I think that it's always going to come. Sadly, it's going to come down to who has the budget to market it, and there are going to be those that want to experiment it, and when they do experiment with it and they win, they're going to have more money to invest. But again, it's hard because you're right. The ones that are going to win from it are the ones that do have the budgets for it, because I don't really see any good solutions for those people that don't have those budgets, and just spending their money on a paint shop and putting a bunch of text in there, with the crappy graphics like you had mentioned aren't going to cut it. But so I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
I see Gabriella has joined us. Hello, Gabriella.
Good morning.
good to see you.
We're just almost wrapping up. I've just been picking Matt's brain. He's been sharing some wisdom with us and gone through most of the questions. I did have one more that had come in yesterday. Is it true? Somebody had said that in order to really be an infographic, it has to show a correlation of data and history. Would you say that's true?
It's funny because before even people started calling them infographics, we were putting these amazing graphics out there that people were just linking to, and I didn't have a word for them. Technically, I wouldn't call that, that social media explained by cute cats. I wouldn't technically call it an infographic because there's really no data to it. It does help explain something, and it does make something visually fun. But technically, there's no data to it. But people want to call it an infographic. Well, there's information on it. It's a graphic. Call it what you want. I don't really care whether it's an infographic or not. People want to put their own labels to it. All I care about is am I going to get a bunch of likes to it? Am I going to get a bunch of people linking to it? Is it going to generate some business for us?
Yeah, my personal feeling on that is basically an infographic is a graphic that conveys information, okay, if you just want to get downright literal about it. But the bottom line is, from a marketing standpoint, it's something that attracts interest and generates action. And I think that...
Let me just jump in real quick. The reason I think that that particular question came to light was because a lot of different people are throwing images and calling them infographic without any kind of information other than their logo or whatever. So, in the true sense of a classical, if you will, the way I was trained in Marketing 101, an infographic is data, history, and you have to kind of connect the dots in order to make it, I guess they call it infographic back then. I don't recall what they used to call it, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, now we have so many different people that go out there and say, oh, we have an infographic, and you go and you take a look and you're like, what? What is that?
You have a graphic.
There is some truth to, infographic has to have certain standards.
I would agree. I would totally agree. Again, you missed it earlier, but we were talking about my friend Randy over at Cool Infographics. He makes a good point by always pointing out to people that an infographic is not an oversized or bolded text number.
Right.
And, the bigger the font, the more infographic maybe it is. But that's not the case. I think one of the things that we were talking about earlier is if it tells a story, can it? Is it providing information that people are looking for? Is it telling a story, and how well is it doing that? So even something as simple as the cat graphic that I gave the example on, the cats explaining social media. The question is always asked, how do I do better with social media? Or how do I know which networks I should use? Or, what is Foursquare for? How is it going to be used in my business? Well, when you put all the cats together and they're doing their fun little thing like we had them do, explaining that Facebook is for liking my cat, Pinterest is for how to train my cat to dance. And all the stuff that we did, as simple as it is, it is providing information, and we did it in a graphical form, and we made it fun. So I mean, technically, it could be an infographic, but you're right. There are a lot of stuff that's out there that people are just slapping images, putting their logos on, and you know what? I say whatever. Let them keep doing that, because eventually, when they don't get results, they come to us.
Right. I have another question, but this is on a personal level. Now, I've seen two people, and I'm going to assume you're wearing that T-shirt because I see the little head on the top. Yes.
That's him.
When do I get mine?
Next batch. Next batch that we make, I will make sure and find out your.
Absolutely.
You don't have to broadcast it here, but
absolutely.
And I'll get one in the mail to you.
Okay, super.
Yeah, I've been showing off my T-shirt, and Gabs has been jealous.
I have. It's true. I'm like, I want one. You never even met him. I met him twice.
Well, what we try to do, and I'm not wearing the one with the beads, but when we went to New Orleans, we had one that was wearing the Mardi Gras beads.
Right.
And we're going to be going back to Vegas for PubCon in October, and we're going to have something catchy, maybe a Las Vegas tattoo on his butt or something. But
there you go.
that's what we always try to do. We try to, whatever conference we're going to be at, giving them away, we try to theme the Yeti up to that conference. So
perfect. Good.
I got to ask this, Matt. The Yeti. Give us the history of where did the Yeti as your mascot come from?
When we were rebranding from Dream Systems Media, basically we decided that the brand needed to grow up, because I'll give you a little bit of history. When we were Dream Systems Media, me and my two partners, we've been doing something together in online business in some form since '99 with each other. And we were always doing business under the name of Dream Systems LC. And so when we started getting a bunch of people that were wanting marketing from us, because we have other businesses where we've been making money online for a long time. We're selling, retail sites and e-commerce stores. And so we've always had this company that we run it under. And so when more people came to us for internet marketing, the only thought behind the name was, let's throw media at the end of it. And so that's how we became Dream Systems Media. And as we started getting bigger clients, and as we started, realizing more people were like, well, are you, they would call us Dream Media or Dream Team or Media Systems, or do you guys install theater systems, home theater? Anyway, it was confusing people, and the brand wasn't what it should be. And so that's why we went through a whole new direction with Avalaunch Media. And the Yeti was just something that I was joking. We were talking about how every company needs a mascot or needs something, and they're always joking that I look like a big old Yeti. And so I was like, well, let's create a Yeti. And it was just a joke at the time, and people loved it so much. And anyway, we did voting on it for what style and what to name him, and anyway, it just caught on, and it's a good conversation piece. And we were even talking that I'm one of those people that doesn't think every business needs a mascot, but it came up and it just fit well with ours, and it worked. But that's a little bit of the history of why we have the Yeti. And again, we're Avalaunch, the avalanche and the snow, and it all kind of fits together. And even though I'm here in sunny Phoenix, where it's going to be 119 this week, we do have, the main core of our business is in Utah, where there's a lot of snow-capped mountains and stuff. So.
Well, I had to ask, you being such a petite young man, I just wondered if you had anything to do with the history behind it.
There may have been some pattering after it. I don't know.
One other comment I'd make. I came to know you online probably 3 years ago, and at first I saw a couple of tweets from you that were interesting. I think that's probably about the time I started getting interested in infographics, because you tweeted something you had done for one of your clients, and I was intrigued. And I asked somebody, "Who's this Matt Siltala? Who is this?" "Oh, he's this guy's sweetheart. This guy's a teddy bear. He looks like scooter trash, but he probably gave you the shirt off his back. And it was interesting because virtually everybody I've ever talked to that has ever met you has said, you eclipse the room, you're huge, you're imposing, but they always follow up with, he is the nicest guy in the world. Just salt of the earth, And, when you hear that from somebody, okay, that's cool. When you hear that from 2 or 3 somebodies, might be something there. I have virtually never heard anybody comment that they'd ever met you that didn't make it a point to say how professional and likable you were. I think that's intimate. Personality comes into play in business. And the fact that you have that sort of personality that even your competitors find appealing, that says something for you, bud.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. You have to let me know who I owe the $20 to. I might run out of money, though.
They just want a link, that's all. Everybody I know wants a link.
Everybody loves a link. There you go.
Yes, they do. No, it's awesome to hear that because, I work really hard at trying to build this good brand and build up a bunch of whatever you want to call it, connections with people. And it's funny you mentioned competitors because we do a lot of work with competitors. There's a lot of people that I could name off right now who white label our services, and so I don't ever look at anyone as a competitor. I don't ever look at anyone as an enemy. There's always different things that we all can help each other with, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. That made my day.
Good. It should. Gabriela, did you have any other questions that?
No, I'm just sorry I missed the majority of the hangout. I really wanted to hear some information because the way I was introduced to the infographic was through Chris. And I think I even mentioned it when I saw you at PubCon. And I thought that was just an amazing the way it was going horizontal instead of vertical. Yeah. And it was very interactive, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And then I found out you had done it or you had a part in it. And that's when I realized, okay, so now when I think infographic, right away I associate Matt, to you. Which I think
fine. You guys can think about that all you want. Just send people my way.
No, and I think my specialty and my forte is marketing and branding, and you cannot do a better job at what you guys are doing, especially when it comes to the infographics. So absolutely. We played with infographics once a long time ago, and we still have people linking to it. Yeah. Google Dance. And we did it back in, I want to say 2010, maybe even 2009, I don't remember. But up to this day, when I look at our Google Analytics, we still have 1 or 2 people still looking at it, even though it needs to be updated and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, infographics do establish, great information, and if they're link worthy, you will still get links years later.
Well, that's exactly what I was telling Doc. I said we put one out around 2007. I can't remember the exact time, but a long time ago,
right?
In internet years.
Yeah.
But, still to this day, we've gone over the years and updated it, but still to this day, this graphic is still, being linked to. I still get emails about, can I use this in a presentation? And the thing that's awesome about it is I get a lot of educational sites that love it as a resource. And, the only thing I ask from them is, hey, I wouldn't mind if you use it. Just give me some credit. Give me a link.
Right.
And most of them are pretty good about it, and people still wanting to make posters out of it and stuff. And this is something that was put out years ago, years ago. So you're right. You put some quality out, people are going to continue to link to it, period.
Exactly.
And then part of the conversation that you missed was if it's something that's done really well like this, figure out how you can repurpose it. How can you turn that into a video and get it in front of that audience? How can you turn it into a SlideShare presentation and get it in front of the audience that likes looking at those? How can you turn that into an ebook and capture some leads from it? So there's
Right.
lots of different ways that you can. There's so many different things that you can do from just a simple idea that was maybe a simple infographic. So
Right, right. No, and again, kudos to you guys for branding yourselves with that particular strategy or discipline, if you will, in your arsenal of creative talent. And so again, I'm sorry I missed the whole hangout, but I'm sure I'll get the inside scoop when I look at it again. And I don't have anything else other than I'm hoping to see you again for PubCon Las Vegas. I'm going to try to make it.
yeah, if you make it, let's make a point and do dinner for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Doc, you're invited if you make it up to this side of the border.
I would love to. You know, and PubCon Vegas is the one I would want to go, but that's also the one that my wife would be most loath to let me attend. She knows that I have an issue with green felt.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
she'd only let me go if she went along with me, because she has been pestering me for over 20 years. She wants to go to Vegas.
Hey, it's a great place. You really should take her up. I went a couple of years ago when I first met Matt. I think it was 2010 or 2011 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I haven't been to Vegas prior to that since I want to say 78, 77. I don't mean to age myself.
Wow.
But oh my God, I mean,
Yep.
we are talking a complete, different strip than what it was back in 76, 77.
You know, if you act quick, Doc, you know, $52 a night at the Hard Rock Cafe is not a bad deal.
No,
kidding.
that's a great deal, actually.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was there was, I think, in '74, right
Yeah,
after
so
I got back
you
from
predate
Nam.
me. Prehistoric.
And that was, I have seen some of the pics that the strip is just no longer recognizable.
Oh, you won't
It's not even in the
recognize it.
same
You really
place.
won't. Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, Matt, it has been informative. I do have one more question I want to throw out.
Okay. No
Looking
problem.
in terms of bandwidth, you know, one of the comments I heard from one of my cohorts was, you know, the problem with big infographics is I'm either, if I put it on my site, then my load time goes to hell, or if I build a great infographic and it really is successful, then I've got 1,000 people that want to link to my site, and my bandwidth goes to hell there.
I say it's a good problem to have and pay a little bit more for more bandwidth.
That was kind of my response too. You know, if that's the biggest problem you have, you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
And there's ways to optimize it. I mean, you know, if you just take the final raw version of it and you don't do any kind of optimizing to that image, you know, being the final product that you put on your website, it is going to weigh it down. But I mean, you know, there's even simple things that I see that people don't do. Even taking the PNG that, you know, someone, you know, they take these raw files and they forget to turn them into JPEGs, or they forget to do little things to optimize
to flatten the layers, absolutely, and that just adds huge.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're taking those steps, and I'm not going to feel bad for anyone that's getting thousands of links and getting lots of traffic or anything like that. I'll tell them all day, you know, up your bandwidth.
Crash my server, please.
Exactly.
You know, I would assume that would bring up the question in my mind. Anyway, we talked a little while ago about the idea of animation on an IG. I would assume that would really be a major load issue there. That'd be difficult to do nearly as much in terms of compression there, wouldn't it?
Again, I'm not gonna, as far as the interactive ones go, I'm not gonna claim to be the one that knows anything about that. I'm the guy behind the idea. Luckily, I have people on my team that know how to run those programs. But I know that there's ways, and we've talked about it, whether it be the HTML5, you know, or if you're still creating them in Flash. I know that these guys do their best to keep keep their load time as. I know there's tricks that they can do. Again, I don't know all the technical ways to talk about it or describe it here, but I know that at least our designers, we're always conscious and always talking to them and always talking about make sure that this isn't going to be something that lags the site because Google pays attention to the site speed. And so anyway, I think that a lot of it too is it depends on, okay, Google's going to know that this is a graphic. Google's going to know that a lot of people are liking this. Google's not going to penalize you because you have something that a lot of people are liking and linking to. You know, they're going to understand that it's not just a page with 2 paragraphs on it. So
Yeah, and I think that's a fair assumption too. I know some people tend to throw rocks at Google that they assume they're always going to be unfair. I don't necessarily adhere to that theory. I think that if there's some value there, then they're going to cut you some slack.
absolutely agree.
Well, for my part, I have both enjoyed it and I very much appreciate it, particularly making yourself available on relatively short notice. It's been
No
interesting.
problem.
It's been fun.
No problem.
And I kind of feel bad I didn't wear my Yeti T-shirt today.
Yeah, you were wearing it yesterday, old proud Papa. What happened?
Well, that's the problem. I'd already worn it. I wasn't thinking. Should have planned ahead.
We didn't want to make you the odd one out either, so we, you know.
Oh, I'm always the odd one out. You know, Gabs is safe. If I'm here, then she doesn't have to worry about being the odd one out because I pretty much carry that title.
That's what you get for being an old fart in the industry.
Yeah, well.
Hey,
an old fart, not necessarily in the industry.
we need more of us old farts because
Exactly.
the young ones coming up, you know, sometimes aren't as impressive. So we need some stability with us old farts.
Yeah, I hear you.